What's up, Doc? Welcome to the Docs Get Money podcast. Are you a badass doctor killing it professionally and has bigger dreams than just clocking in and out of the hospital? Do you want to leave behind a legacy that is as lit as an HBCU homecoming? Want to know how other doctors are getting to the big bag? That's right, making 5, 6, and 7 figures without putting on the white coat? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Kimberly, but you can call me Kim or KB. I went from being a burnt out and overwhelmed emergency physician to the founder and CEO of 2 six-figure non-clinical companies and beating burnout along the way. I'm also your business coach, here to help you make money moves to change the world. This podcast isn't just about making money, though. It's about leveling up your life, mindset, and bank account so you can build an empire that's as iconic as Beyonce. You ready? Let's get into it. If you're sitting on a mountain of expertise and wondering if it's possible to replace your clinical income while practicing full-time, I've got news for you. It's not just possible, it can happen in 90 days or less. But only if you create your FIRE offer, your express lane to fast income and a lifestyle that allows you to retire early, all while keeping your day job. Tailored for doctors ready to change lives outside of the exam room, you go from concept to cash in under 90 days as a consultant, coach, or midterm rental business. Think it's a stretch with your schedule? Think again. With the FIRE Offer Combustion Kit, you'll craft your expertise and story into an offer that's too hot to touch and sell it to make your first 4 or 5 figures. Ready to change lives and make bank fast? DM the word BURN to me, Dr. Kimberly, at Dr. Kimberly B on Instagram, and let's start a fire. Thank you again for joining me for the 5 mistakes Dr. Entrepreneurs make when selling their expertise online. My name is Dr. Kimberly Brown. Like I said, I'm super excited to give you guys this masterclass today. The big topic that I want to talk about is really what I've been learning from observing not only myself as an entrepreneur and as a practicing physician, but also what I'm seeing is happening with my clients and what has really shifted for them in order to make money in their businesses. So once I've identified these mistakes, I felt like I have an obligation to share them with everyone else to make sure that we as physicians are really maximizing our opportunities to create revenue outside of our clinical work. All of us right now are trying to buy down our clinical time and do so many different things. And so, like I said, I'm super excited to share with you what I have learned from both myself and my clients as I have been on this journey of entrepreneurship and also being a business coach. So, as a full introduction, I'm an emergency physician by training. I trained in Memphis, Tennessee, where I lived for over 9 years, and I very recently moved to Northwest Arkansas. Like I told you guys before, I just had a brand new baby girl. Her name is Emerald. She is somewhere in the back in the house. Hopefully she won't make too much of a disturbance tonight. I'm also an entrepreneur. I am the founder and CEO of Sherwood Properties. It was a midterm rental business, and I'm also the founder and CEO of 541 Creative Group, where I help doctors really build out their businesses to express who they are in a new and a different way. And I'm also a certified business coach as well too. So again, excited to have you guys on tonight. Let's get started. Okay. So this session is going to be for you tonight if you're a doctor as well, a dentist, a pharmacist, a physician, a therapist, or some other healthcare professional who's tired of trading time for money, but not sure how to create their outcome outside of medicine. You may also be coaching, consulting, teaching, or offering your expert services outside of your clinical work, but right now your business feels more like an expensive hobby than a real revenue stream that you want. You've got the credentials, you've got passion, you've got skills, but marketing makes you feel anxious, sales makes you feel awkward, and you've been avoiding putting yourself out there to your audience in order for you to make sales. And you may have invested in business programs before, maybe even gotten certifications as a coach, or some sort of consultation certification, but you're still not clear on how to actually turn that into paying clients. You've got limited time because clinical work is still a thing, and so you actually need a plan that is simple, strategic, and actually works for busy practicing clinicians like you. And you're tired of guessing, downloading freebies, piecing together strategies from YouTube. You want a real blueprint that gets you to 4 or 5 figure months without you having to show up to your clinical work. You've been watching other doctors on the sidelines, seeing them post about business wins and wondering when it's going to be your turn. The session is also going to be for you if you're ready to step into the CEO role in your own business and build a business that pays you without burning you out, draining your energy, or hijacking your schedule. So you're going to get a ton of value tonight if you have been recognized yourself as in one of these categories. Tonight is going to be unique and different for several different reasons. Number one, you're going to understand the real reasons why your business is not making money and how to fix it. It's not going to be coming from a place of judgment, but from facts. And so these real patterns I've seen since I've been coaching other doctors, and like I said, even on my own entrepreneurship journey. This is based on processes and techniques that are needed for busy doctors created by a busy doctor, i.e. myself. I am still practicing emergency medicine part-time. Like I said, I'm a mom. I have 2 businesses that I'm running. So I can understand what your time constraints are also like as well too. This is not some cookie cutter standardized advice that I would give any entrepreneur that is starting or growing a business as they are going about their 9 to 5. And I also think that this is important and this is unique and different because these are based on actual results. This is not theoretical advice. This is things that I have witnessed myself, and my clients have been able to learn and glean from their journeys as well too. So I trust that you are really going to see some of the value of what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. So, the goal of my time together is to really share with you the 5 simple mistakes that are stopping you from making consistent money in your business. However, there's only one big problem that we're having is that we only have a short time together. I'm going to try to keep this to an hour and a half as best as I possibly can. And so, at the end of the conversation, though, if there's anything that resonates with you, I will share the next steps with those of you who want to work further. So we are here and we're facing some big challenges. And so let me know if any of these resonate with you. You are possibly struggling to explain what you actually do in a way that gets people to say yes. You may be sharing your expertise as a coach, some sort of a consultant, some sort of a teacher or an educator, but you don't really know how to communicate with people what you do in a way that makes them want to actually pay you for your services. You're having difficulty making consistent offers without feeling like you're annoying people. You're feeling frustrated because you've invested your time and money in your business. You're taking it very seriously, but you haven't seen a return on your own investment so far. And you're second guessing whether people even want what you're offering. Like you are having these amazing offers that you're creating, you're putting out there, and you're not hearing anything, and you're just starting to wonder, hey, is anyone listening? Can anyone hear me? But here's what I know about you as well too. You have some pretty big desires. You want to create a simple offer that sells without needing a big audience or a bunch of eyeballs on you or to even need to have a bunch of tech to set it all up. You don't want to use the funnels, you don't want to use all the websites, the drip sequences, all of that. No, you don't want that. You do want to make enough income in your business so that you can just cut back on your clinical hours. Maybe you want to spend time with your family. Maybe you want to take an extra vacation. Maybe you just want to stare at the wall on a Wednesday without having to go to work. It doesn't matter. You want to have back your own time. You want to feel confident selling and know exactly what it takes to sign paying clients. You may be giving your expertise away for free now, but what you want is for people to pay you for what you know. And you want to wake up knowing that your business makes money and it is not an expensive hobby. This business does what it's supposed to, makes money, and helps you to feel a source of freedom in your life. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I totally recognize all of those things. Like I shared with you guys before, my name is Dr. Kimberly Brown. I did my training in emergency medicine in Memphis, Tennessee. And when I was in training, I was one of the only little raisins in the oatmeal, as you guys can see here. I was the raisin in the oatmeal for until just a couple of years ago. And I was having an amazing time in Memphis, learning, taking care of really, really sick patients. And I was also a part of the first class of graduating residents from my program. And the attendings around me were all entrepreneurs. One had a very successful coffee company, one was a medical director at a men's clinic, another was an Emmy Award winning producer with a production company. So I watched my attendings practice medicine and do business on the side. And so I thought that's what everybody else does. And so I always knew going into medicine that after probably about 10 years or so, I wanted to do something else. There would have to be something else along my journey. Didn't know what that was exactly. But watching my attendings grow businesses as they were still teaching us and practicing medicine showed me that that's probably the path that I wanted to go down. So I was wanting to make money after I stopped residency or got out of residency, and I wanted to find a way to make money, but I didn't know how to do that. So I just kind of went along and just tried to be the good EM resident that I was. And around second year, as you guys may or may not remember, that people start asking you like, well, what do you want to do after you finish? And so I was like, well, I want to make some money, but I felt some pressure to say that I wanted to do something else. Like I wanted to do a fellowship or do something else. And so an opportunity presented itself for me to apply for a neurocritical care fellowship. And I loved critical care. I still love critical care. But I couldn't see myself at 33 years of age starting a fellowship and then finishing fellowship at 35 years old and just now making significant money. I felt like I got student loan debts to pay, all these kinds of things. But what am I going to do after I finish residency? It just kind of felt like a question mark. The less logical step in my mind was to go ahead and to do the fellowship. So, long story short, I applied for and got the fellowship. I went through the rest of my second year knowing that I had gotten to fellowship. And when I finished residency, so that would have been the next year, I got all the way up to May, right before I graduated in June 2018, and felt really sick about the decision to do neurocritical care fellowship. I just felt like I was trying to stuff myself in a box and I felt super uncomfortable with it. And one day in May, I was filling out some paperwork for me to start fellowship in July, and I cannot explain it, but just a sickness came over my body. I felt so heavy. I burst out into tears. I felt gross. There was so much time, many months had gone by that I was not articulating to people that I did not really actually want to do the fellowship. I felt like that's what I was supposed to be doing. And so that day I just exploded. I called up my future program director and I told him I'm not going to be doing fellowship. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but this is not in alignment. And so from there, I scrambled and tried to figure out what I was going to do after residency. And I ended up with a locums job. And so that's what I did for the first couple of months after I finished residency. After that, I started to ask myself also what do I want? Since I did not want to do the fellowship, what do I want to do? And so once I asked myself that question, I started to explore and I started to play and I started to go back to the idea of making money without having to go into the hospital. And what did I really enjoy and see other doctor entrepreneurs really doing? So I did all of the things. I got on TV. You guys see me sitting on the news here talking about my book that I wrote. I was on House Hunters with my brother immediately after I finished residency. I also was in Untold Stories of the ER. Whoop, there we go. Untold Stories of the ER. So I did all of those things in this entrepreneurial, but like also living my life experience. But I also was trying to create a persona of an entrepreneur as a physician that I thought that worked. I saw other doctors branding themselves as Dr. So and so and Dr. this and Dr. that. And so I branded myself as Dr. Kimberly, talking about my medical expertise and what am I seeing as my unique perspective in the emergency room. But it didn't really feel good. And these experiences I had with being on TV looked great, don't get me wrong, but for some reason I thought that was going to make money just like start coming through the door for me. I don't know why I thought that, maybe because it looked so fancy and all of those other things, but it never brought in the money that I thought that it would. And it was really, really hard to continue to kind of market myself as just Dr. Kimberly. I felt like I was really trapped into a box. Like I said, I even spent this time writing and self-publishing books because I thought that Dr. Entrepreneurs did these things. I thought that you write a book, you publish it, you build your expertise this way. And so I wrote two books. One is an emergency, and this is really geared toward patients, talking about their emergency room visits. And I also wrote the book with a really close friend of mine, Dr. Nina Loom, still MD, talking about my advice going through a Caribbean medical school. So again, this looks all fancy on the outside, but I wasn't selling copies of my book, so I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make. And then 2020 came, and it didn't seem super ethical to be selling my medical expertise during a global pandemic, especially when people desperately needed factual information that we were not getting from the powers that be, from the government that we currently live in the United States. And I wasn't really feeling certain about myself. Like I said, I was trying to figure out really what I wanted to do. Like the books weren't selling well. I thought being on TV and speaking and doing those things would make me lots of money, but they weren't doing that either. So I just kind of put things on hold as far as the entrepreneurial side and just kind of shut down for a little while. I ended up picking up some telemedicine so that I would be able to make some money outside of the hospital, but yeah, I was enjoying that for the little time that it was having on me, but I was still, again, working on the front lines of the coronavirus pandemic. So after a few months of doing telemedicine and working and doing some other side hustling type of things, spotty here and there, I really started to feel burnt out. I mean, at work, I'm practicing in Trump country, and people didn't believe that COVID was even real. I was working all kinds of crazy shifts. I'd be working day shift one day, literally the next day, I'd be flipped to nights, and I've had to drive hours because I was working a local locums contract. Telemedicine was making great money, but I was either chained to my phone or my laptop in order to make the money to rack up the hours and see the patients. And if I wasn't at work seeing patients, it seemed like I was at home in my bed seeing patients now. And so I really started to just get burned out. I was just giving my all to everyone else, and I was not getting what I felt like I needed to restore myself as well, too. So what I decided to do was invest in some real estate. I kept trying to do something to make myself feel fulfilled and also to pursue this path that I wanted of passive income, to get out of the the rut that I was feeling. So one of my really good friends presented me with an opportunity to invest in a rental property on a tax sale that needed some work and could probably make a pretty good profit if we got it all fixed up. So I invested 15K of my own savings into this hard-earned this place and the south side of Memphis during the tax sale, and we started renovating the property. Here, I'll show you guys what it is. And I had absolutely no clue what I was doing as far as renovating and all of those things. So we went in with a business partner and I tried to piece it together. I was reading books on real estate investing. I went to YouTube University. But when I was actually really in the thick of renovating this house, if I can be truly honest with you guys tonight, I was scared. I did not know what I did not know. And I felt like I was trying to learn all of these things on my own. And I leaned someone on my business partner who knew some experience, but at the same time, I needed to know these things for myself. And so I also just felt like as an adult, as a doctor, if I was going to be so big and brave enough to invest into a property like this, then I should really, really understand the numbers and understand what is happening. No matter if this was my first time or if this was my fifth time or not, I was just telling myself these things. So eventually we got the house mainly fixed up and we got a tenant after way more than 15K invested in this project. And so then we started having some differences, and then he ended up leaving the partnership and leaving me with a probably about 85% finished house and a tenant. And I had no one to support me, no one to help me along the way, no one to ask me what to do. So I did what I thought was best, and I just sold the property. I let it go, and I moved the tenant out. I really felt like a failure because, again, I had tried multiple different ways to pursue wealth outside of what I do for my day job as an emergency physician. I wanted to make money without having to walk into work, but I could not understand for the life of me how to get there. I felt like I had tried all of the things that they told us as doctors to do as far as side hustles and wise investments, but nothing was working out for me. And not to mention, I was still working full time. I was on a travel contract. I'm still seeing telemedicine patients, sometimes before shift, sometimes during after shift, and I'm burning the candle on both ends, and sometimes even in the middle, to be perfectly honest with you. So I found myself burnt out. So one day at one of my hospitals, this one actually is in North Mississippi. I was sitting around at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and we were just wrapped in blankets and we were just talking to each other. It was kind of dead in the ER. And I would sit around and talk to the nurses, and we would share about how our experiences, how we were feeling during COVID, and what we wanted to do with our lives. And it makes us start to think like, maybe I don't want to keep going into nursing, or maybe I should try to do something else. And we were kind of talking about the strain that we were all feeling because everybody was a traveler at that time too. But we wanted to leave healthcare, but to do what? And so we just kind of sat around and commiserated. I left that shift and went to around the corner to a little 2-star hotel that I recently passed on the road trip. And I just found myself just collapsing. I went into the room, I got into my bed, and I just got into tears. I just started crying because I was so exhausted, and I'm just so frustrated, and everything that I'm trying to do to make money outside of medicine is not working. I'm not sure what's the right move for me next. And so I also started to think about how I wish I could be at home. Why am I in this 2-star hotel right now? This lumpy bed. It's the middle of the pandemic. I really don't know if this place is actually clean or not. We're in North Mississippi. It's variable if these people actually believe COVID is even real. And so I wish I was in my house in my own bed, relaxing in a place that I know was safe. And I couldn't. So I started to think, well, hmm, if I'm like this, how many other people out there that maybe want to feel the same way? Which they were at home when they're away from home and working a travel contract. And so, what if I could create for them like their own little oasis or their own space where they can renew, restore, and refresh themselves while they're working away from home for their period of time that they are? And so, I kept noticing so many other people were burnt out. I'm in conversations in different Facebook groups and group me's and things like that. I'm like, man, people really need this. Doctors and other healers and people in the healthcare space, they need this right now. They need this space where they can really renew and restore themselves. And little did I know at that time, I was actually dreaming up my very first successful business, Sherwood Properties. But I was hearing later, after I was having these thoughts, I started to hear later how people were making millions of dollars on Airbnb. And I started learning about short and midterm rentals and how I could get started about without owning any property. So after that whole disaster with the rental property that I had, I definitely didn't want to invest my money again. And if I could do that without owning property, I was like, let me see if this is actually legit. So I did. And so I started working with a coach. I took a class with a coach and I learned how to get my very first property with midterm rentals. And I did just that. And I furnished my very first rental property. This is Modern Luxury in the medical district, and this is in Memphis. I spent about $6,000 from some of my telemedicine money, and I got all this furniture and all the furnishings that you see here. And I marketed it with some really great pictures that you're looking at right now. And in less than 40 days, I got my very first yes, and I made my first $9,000 with my first guest as a travel nurse with my midterm rental business. And after that guest left, I kept going, booking more and more travel nurses, getting partnerships with local hospitals. I even opened up a second rental after 7 months, and I made over 15K. It was finally working for me. After me having this rock bottom experience, business finally started to turn around for me. And I finally started to see a financial return on my investment about what I could put into it. I didn't have to purchase a property and I had guests that I liked and it was working. So that was 2022 when I first started my Sherwood Properties. In 2023, my company was growing. I expanded my team. You can see my cleaner and my in-person assistant here. We moved to a brand new apartment complex and furnished new apartments and provided over like tens and maybe hundreds of even people homes away from homes while I was growing my business. And by the end of 2023, I made over $142,000 in revenue while I was still working full time in the emergency department. And I was more specifically helping others that needed this spaces or these spaces the most. Burnt out traveling medical professionals, patient families, medical students, and I was making money ethically and sustainably. But I didn't even stop there. I wanted more. I felt so healed, healing other people and providing those opportunities for other people. I I loved growing my business. I loved running it. I loved creating a team, having meetings, and I started to look forward to what I was doing and what I was seeing in my world. And so I was helping people, my ideal clients, but I actually wanted to serve other physicians in a deeper way. So I started working with a business coach and to help me to grow Sherwood Properties. And I also started to work with my business coach to become certified to become a business coach as well too. I became certified in order to help businesses go from either their first dollar to all the way growing to $1 million as well too. And so as I applied the principles, the skills, and the tools that I learned from my coaching certification, like I said, I decided to become a business coach myself because I had the passion of helping other doctors find this level of freedom for themselves. So before I was even halfway done with my certification, I created my own coaching offer and I got myself out there. So July 1st, a couple of years ago, I was armed with just a Google document and my telephone, and I launched my offer, and I had a backlog of over 300 people reaching out to me inquiring about um, my services. And so within 3 weeks of launching my business coaching, I had earned 24K as a coach. And so by the end of, or by the beginning of last year, 2024, I had two six-figure businesses, both midterm rentals and a coaching business. And I was able to practice medicine on my terms and my own terms and go down to clinical work part-time. So here's the big revelation, and why I'm sharing all of that backstory with you today is because the fastest way for doctors to make 4 or 5 figures without burnout, by getting all that success, is by fixing the mistakes that I am going to lay out for you in this masterclass today. And the reason why this is so important for you to understand right now is that time is not on our side. We are working in systems that are burning us out. We don't have the luxury of wasting years or 2 years trying to figure out slowly how to make money in our businesses. So, in order for us to make money consistently, we need to do things more effectively. And I will be talking about how we can fix that. The market is already shifting as well. People are tired of kind of buying generic things. We really need to connect with the fact that people want help from people that are real experts in what they are doing. So, whatever transformation you provide, whether you're a health coach, whether you're a burnout coach, whether you're a general life coach, with you, whether you're a business coach or some sort of a consultant, whatever you do, your medicine is so needed in this world right now. And people are not looking for just cookie cutter methods, they're looking for a deep level of transformation. And so, this is why it's so important for you to connect with and fix these mistakes that we're going to talk about today. And the last reason why this is really important for us to know is that we're already drained. If we are doing things that are going to add burden into our business and our time, such as low ticket offers, freebies, funnels, we're only going to like drain ourselves even more. So we need to focus on generating revenue in a way that's sustainable, that is going to get us out of the hustle and to help us to grow our businesses, like I said, sustainably. All right. So let's get deeper into the content and let's actually talk about some of these mistakes that you're likely making. And again, this is where you're really going to want to take out a pen and a piece of paper and take notes on this, because this is going to be transformational for you tonight. And I'm sure you're going to find yourself making at least one of these mistakes. So, the first mistake that I think is the number one mistake that most doctors get stuck in is perfectionism. We are so focused on being perfect and not focusing on making progress. We put in the work, we put in the hours, but we don't really understand why our business is not moving forward. So, how do we know that we're doing this? You're tweaking your website for the seventh time this month, even though no one has seen your website as of yet. You are stuck in perfectionism. If you're redoing your lead magnet yet again before anyone has even opted into the first one that you've ever created, you're creating content, but you're never inviting people to buy, or this is even more specific. You're creating content, meaning it's in your notes app or it's in your scheduler, but you never post it because there's always something wrong, whether it's something with the caption or there's something with the picture, but you create the content, but then you never post it. That's also what you're doing. You're not showing up on camera unless your hair is perfectly done and your makeup is perfectly applied. You have to look a exactly certain way every single time that you're showing up on camera. Otherwise, you're not doing it. Does that sound like you? Okay. Let me tell you the truth. Perfectionism is an entrepreneur's kryptonite. What do I mean by that? Perfectionism will keep you from being seen, from risking rejection, and from testing what actually works. It also keeps you in neutral because if you are constantly just tweaking and not putting things out there, you never get the actual feedback that you need in a quick enough fashion to understand what's actually working so you can do more of it. And if you don't change your perfectionist ways, then you'll notice that your time is going to be sucked away. It's not the amount of hours that you put into your business, it's the tasks that you're doing that move the needle while you are working in your business. I would rather work with an entrepreneur that is spending 1 hour a week on their business versus someone that's spending 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week on their business, because it's what you do in that focused, limited time is what's really going to move the needle. But if you're not doing anything, you're just twiddling around and just putzing and kind of tweaking things, then your time is just going to be wasted. And so you'll be having months, even years planning instead of actually launching your business and making money. And you'll continue to watch people less experienced than you pass you by because they're willing to be seen and being imperfect while you're not. So if you continue in perfectionism, you will stay stuck and eventually you'll burn out and it'll feel pretty pretty bad. So perfectionism is really the biggest mistake that I am watching people do as far as mistakes that they're making. But there's a simple fix for that. And the simple fix is take messy, imperfect action. I think we as physician entrepreneurs really latch on to the perfectionism because we like to have things a certain way. But we need to learn in business, it's the opposite. We're not keeping anything sterile. There's nothing sterile. There's nobody's lives on the line. So we are allowed to take messy and perfect action. And if we look at our lives or our businesses not as something that needs to be perfect in order to make money, and we look at it as more of an experiment and as a laboratory, that allows us to really play and to get curious and to find out, well, what if I do this, and what if I say it like that, and what if I try this as a marketing piece. All of those things, even if we don't have all the answers, we are able to play and experiment and treat our business like a lab, and that's what moves our business forward. So I encourage you, you don't need to have everything lined up. You don't need to have a website. You don't need to have a logo. You don't even need to have like modules recorded or anything like that in order to make money in your business, in order to transform. You should move forward with just messy and perfect action and see where that takes you. Like I said before, when I was sharing my story with you guys, as far as how I started my business coaching, I had a Google document in my phone and I made $24,000 with just those things. I had a website, yes, but it had absolutely nothing to do with what I was talking to people about. And so with just my Google document and my phone and my audacity and my belief, I was able to make that money. But it took from taking messy and perfect action. If I waited for me to have a landing page or a sales page, it never would have happened like that. Okay, so now I have some questions for you guys, and let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, how well are you doing at taking messy and perfect action in your business? 10 is like, yep, I take it every single time. I am the queen of just taking messy action. That's a 10. Or number one, I am a perfectionist. Yvette. Okay, Yvette says 10. Somebody says 3. Awesome. Yvette's an ER doctor, so we're that's another reason why I think it's a little bit easier for us because we always have this mindset of, okay, but did you die though? So we always can kind of like put things together. I think that sometimes that is what we do as far as businesses or as far as ER doctors are concerned. Okay, we're all over the place. Sevens, tens, fives. Okay, cool. All right. Well, for those of you who have not said a 10 or a 9, if you actually took messy action and treated your business like a lab, what would that give you? And those of you who are the nines and the tens, what has it given you in order for you to take messy action in your business? How has that been showing up for you? Is the key? Are you getting better though? Yes, you are getting better. I know you are. What would it be like if you were more consistently taking messy actions? You'd be stress free. I wouldn't procrastinate. That's true. That's absolutely true. And I think that's another thing that kind of gets us tripped up. Well, no, I'm glad that you said that. The perfectionism is a lot of times just our procrastination as well, too. Dr. Zakia says more freedom. I love that as well. So, another last question about this is, can you commit to taking imperfect action in your business daily? Whether that is, I'm just going to DM one person, or I am going to hit the live button, or I'm going to send an email and ask someone if they want to work with me. Can you commit to taking daily imperfect action? Drop a yes in the chat if you can. Awesome. Awesome. I see some yeses. Cool. All right, let's keep going. Mistake number two, choosing the wrong business model. Now, this one may hurt a couple of people's feelings, and I don't mean to do that, but I'm gonna be really real with you. So, most doctor entrepreneurs are trying to scale a business before they've even sold a proven product. And let me tell you exactly what I mean. A lot of us are trying to get right into passive income, but before we've even built consistent income, a lot of times people are launching digital courses, group programs, evergreen memberships, all kinds of different things, but they don't have the foundational, fundamental thing that they need of a business, which is a proven process, clear messaging, even a paying client first. It's backwards and it's keeping everybody broke. So, thinking that you are going to make all this money with a digital course, but you've never even proven what you have learned or what you're teaching is working first is not going to work. How do you know that you are doing this? You are trying to create a group program, but you have not worked with people one on one yet. You're selling a $97 digital product because it's easier to start low. And you're recording modules for a digital course, but you have not tested the content with real paying clients. So let me tell you the truth. You are currently creating offers based on what feels comfortable and looks profitable, not what you've proven works or meets you at your stage of business. Let's be really honest with each other, and we all know this. We do not get any zero business training in medical school. So we get out in the market and we're practicing and we're learning about business kind of like by watching everybody else do it unless we are going to get an MBA, right? And so we see these multimillionaire entrepreneurs and they are selling us their method of starting digital courses and doing all of these things, and we think that that's what we should do because we're clinicians as well too. But so we buy the course to teach us how to create the course, but there's so many other things that go along with it, like having an email list and understanding landing pages and all that. And so we're like, what? We're brand new to the game. We have no clue about anything about email messaging tags and all these automations. We are in way over our heads. And so we're trying so desperately to cling to creating this digital course or creating this passive income, but we miss the fact that we don't have, like I said, the foundational product first that has been proven that is going to be effective. And I'd also say this, you're trying to hide. These things that we're creating feel safer because it's a lot less pressure than to create like a digital course that just sells in your sleep, they tell us, versus to deeply serve one person on a very, very transformational level. Courses feel like they're easier because you can record them behind closed doors, get them perfect, get your hair and makeup done, get them edited, and then voila. There's this magical, beautiful, perfect class that you are selling online now. But again, these things, these methods will only work when you have proven that your method works, build demand around your own voice and your message, and you've practiced selling for real, like actually making offers to people, having sales conversations with people before you're able to make that passive income. And until you get over your fear of being seen, then it's not going to work either. So, my fix for this mistake is start with a high ticket, high touch offer that allows you to refine your method while you're getting paid. If you want to build a business right now while you're practicing clinically that will start to supplement and then replace your clinical income, you have to start with selling high ticket offers that allows you to make money while you paid. So that could be a one-to-one offer that you can walk somebody through in real time, your framework that you've created. That's by having one-to-one sales conversations with people as well too. And what you'll do is you will take the information that you're getting while you're working with that person one-to-one and use that feedback to strengthen your offer, your messaging, and your confidence so that eventually when your offer is refined, then you can turn it into a passive course, a membership, a group program, a mastermind, etc., so forth. Your business should not be a guessing game. It should be more of a system. And you've got to build that system with real information and real people, not with digital courses and scaling something that you've not originally sold first. That brings me to sharing a story with you about one of my clients as a case study. His name is Dr. Dimitri Izuko. He's a fellow Ross graduate. He's a family medicine physician and a certified trainer. And he's the founder and the CEO of his fitness company, AeroFit. And so, as a coach, he had been working with other people for years, helping them to slim down their bodies. And he had just finished residency as well, and he wanted to start selling high ticket, but he really didn't know how to go about that. So he was just kind of just at a standstill with his business. He was making no sales and struggling to sell his one-on-one coaching. He would spend days on end sending cold DMs to people on Instagram and hearing crickets. Um, but despite his marketing activities, he was just burning out, he said, because the process was just getting frustrating. He was doing all of the things that he thought that he should do to get business, but he was just burning out. And like I said, in the meantime, he was also creating modules for a digital course that he was trying to launch for so that he could have passive income. But he was not even making sales with working with people one to one. So basically, his time was spent doing a whole bunch of other things that were not moving the needle in his business and bringing money in. So when he started working with me inside of Ignite, my 90-day process to making money fast outside of the hospital, we started to break down what he needed to be doing. And what the first thing we needed to do was to shift his business model from creating a digital course and going back to how he can work more with his one-on-one clients, find more one-on-one clients that he can work with deeply so he could walk them through the transformation that he was giving them in the digital course, but more as a high touch one-on-one offer. So we switched from the digital course to the one-on-one offer and we launched it. And in 23 days, he made 15K with just switching from burning himself out with cold DMing people and making a digital course to actually going to one-on-one. He made $15,000. And the way that he was really able to do this was really through my signature process in a tool in the offer called, I'm sorry, in tool in Ignite that you use called the Fire Offer Combustion Kit, What you will achieve with the high fire offer combustion kit is your signature high touch, high ticket one-on-one offer. You will understand how you will help this person get from the start line to the goal line. You'll understand how to walk them through any problems that they get through, and also how to price this in order for it to be high ticket and you can make it profitable your first go round. So this is really where the magic happens, is when you put all of your expertise and all of the things that you're teaching into this fire offer combustion kit, and it comes out with an amazing offer that you are able to sell as, like I said, a high touch, high ticket experience for your clients. Okay, so let's stop again for a couple of questions. Let's be honest with each other. On a scale of 1 to 10, how clear and confident are you right now in your current business model? 10 being 100%. I'm like 100% confident in it. Like I'm working with people like one to one right now. I'm working with people in a high touch way. And one is like, I don't have a business at all, or I am not even working with paying clients. Where are you guys right now on the scale of 1 to 10? Got a 9 and I got a 1. I got a 1. Dr. Yvette, I'm curious why you're not a 10 and why you're a 9. You got a 1. I'm curious as to why you guys are ones. Is it that you don't have a business, or just what you're doing right now is just not working? Where do you guys live? There's always room for improvement. I don't have a business. Okay, cool. Don't have a business. Okay, great. Okay, so if you had a simple high touch offer that got clients results and that you could confidently sell it, what would change in your business and for your life as well too? I've become sidetracked. Interesting. So I'm curious, if you did have that simple high touch, high ticket offer that was available for you to sell, what would be changing for your life and for your business right now? JD Dong says freedom, more quality time with your family. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll ask this last question. Are you ready to get out of the digital maze and build a business model that works? Let's see. Let's drop the word model in the chat if you're ready to get out of this digital maze and these backwards business models. Drop the word model in the chat. Awesome. Where you guys at? I hope you guys are still with me. About to say, I'm gonna chat with you guys. You guys gotta chat back with me. This is an interactive call. Okay, cool. Mistake number 3. Let's keep going. Creating content without CTAs. So you're posting, you're sharing valuable content, you're probably dropping gems left and right. You're an expert. Like I said, you're a coach, you're a consultant, you're an educator, but you're not telling people what to do next. And so that is going to be the difference between just getting attention and getting income. And so when I say creating content without CTAs, a CTA is without a call to action. Anytime you are putting a piece of marketing material out there or messaging out there, people need to know what to do after they consume it. And so, usually, actually, 100% of the time, you need to have some sort of a call to action to let people know what to do after they have consumed that piece of information. So, this is you. If you are likely, this is what you'd be doing if if this is what you're doing. So you're ending your post with hope this helps, or you don't use a call to action at all. You're posting tips and education, but you're not making offers. You're talking about the problem without positioning yourself as the solution to the problem. You're hiding maybe your booking links or any of your offers in your link tree instead of just talking about them directly in your content. You're assuming that people already know what to do, so you don't bother repeating the action of what they need to take, whether that is to DM you, whether that is to click a link, whether that is to download a podcast episode, whatever. You use very passive language in your messaging. It's like feel free to reach out or let me know if you're interested. So let me be real with you, and here's the truth. No one is sitting around trying to figure out what to do after interacting with your content. You have to be explicit in telling people what to do after they interact with your information. So you have to just be able to just tell people like what to do next because they need to be led on the journey. They have no idea what it's like to work with you or how to connect with you. So you have to tell them what is next. So the way to fix from you doing this mistake is very simple. Use clear and specific and direct calls to action. You're not being too much. You're not asking for too much. It's not salesy. You have to be clear. Clear sometimes feels like it's salesy because it's very direct. But you know what? Clear, specific, and direct always works. So things like that is DM me the word ready if you would like to get on a sales call with me to learn more about my offer or download today's podcast or like I said, to do a verb. There has to be an action in there for them to make the move in order to do that. Calls to action are very much like a prescription. So we know with medicine that when we are interacting with patients that we are seeing them, we're diagnosing them, we're treating them, and then we give them a lot of times a prescription for a medicine to take in order for them to fix their problem, correct? And so calls to action are the exact same way. They're the prescription, exactly what they need to do, the action that they need to take after they have consumed our content. But if we don't do that, if we don't let them know where they need to go next, then they're never going to take the next step with us. So it's very important for us to, again, use clear, specific, and direct calls to action. That also reminds me of another client that I've recently had sign of Ignite. Dr. Shayun Jones is the creator and the founder of Fly Girl Finance. She's also an internal medicine hospitalist and she's a certified financial educator. She had been investing in multiple courses and memberships, but still has not made a single dollar in her business. In her business, she was working on a digital course and creating content, but was not actually generating any clients. As a matter of fact, she was actually turning down clients. People were reaching out to her to work with her as a one on one coach, but she was actually saying no because she was so busy just trying to squirrel away and work on her digital course that she did not want to work with people one on one. So she was turning down people from working with her. Despite having a business, she had a lot of negative thoughts about selling and making calls to action and making offers. So she avoided all of that altogether. And like I said, she even turned down people that wanted to work with her one on one. She said that she wasn't a salesperson, that she felt like sales was annoying or pushy and uncomfortable. And she feels like if she posted a call to action, that she was going to irritate people. So, like I said, we got work together inside of Ignite, and that is also my accelerator that I am running. It's my process and my accelerator. And the very first call that we had, we really tackled her mindset about sales and marketing and asking people to work with her. And we got really, really deep inside of that. And we challenged her brain as far as what it's really happening when you're making a call to action. You're calling people to a transformation and to work more with them. So that was the very first call that we had with this last go around inside of Ignite. And so she came back a week later, the second call, and she gave a win at the beginning of the call that she basically had doubled her email list because she just decided to make calls to action. She said that she was been creating the content, and so she made a call to action to join her email list, and she doubled her email list with the number of people that responded to her call to action. Later on inside of Ignite, she also made 5K in 2 weeks by working with people one on one. And she had incredible results. And what she really, really learned inside of Ignite and by doing the moves that she did was making calls to action isn't being annoying, it's offering transformation. And so now she's able to serve her clients well and teach a process that she has used to help herself get from $0 in investment into multiple six figures in investment as well too. So, question for you. We're going to take a break here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how often are you putting clear and direct calls to action in your content? 10 being all of the time and 1 being none of the time. Dr. Zakia, I'm glad that you are. Dr. Zakia was in the room when Shayun was getting coached on this, so I'm glad to see that you're taking this coaching and running with it. So I see a 10 and I see some ones. Nobody else is in between. What's next? Where to find you? Yes, call to action. Yes, Dr. Yvette. That's 100% true. Okay. If you were making clear and direct calls to action every single time, what would shift in your income, your visibility, and your confidence? Really curious about that. If you were making clear and direct calls to action every single time you were putting messaging out there, what would shift in your income, your visibility, and your confidence? Dr. Eddie Dong says that she feels like there would be her confidence would improve, her income would increase, and she would definitely be more visible. I'd agree with that. Awesome. So, if you can commit to making clear and specific CTAs every time you create messaging, please drop CTA in the chat. Awesome. All right, let's keep rolling. Dr. Yvette says CTA. She's doing it all the time anyway. She says she's committed to keep going. Mistake number 4 is not pricing for profitability. So let me just be really real with you, Doc. You are probably undercharging. You are already know that you are really good at what you do. You've got the results, you've got training, you've got receipts, but you are pricing what you do at a starter pack level. You're probably charging like $297 for something that solves a $10,000 problem. I see this so many different times. How do you know that you're doing this? You are constantly adjusting your price based on what you think people can afford. You avoid even talking about the price at all. And you get probably quiet or apologetic when somebody asks you how much something is. So you are exhausted, like you're feeling resentful. You're putting all of this energy into your business, into your offers and what you're creating, and you're still not making anything any more money to cover the investment that you've put into creating your business, let alone to replace your clinical income. And if this doesn't change, then you're going to stay stuck in a cycle of working more and earning less, and you'll start to burn out outside of medicine as well too. um, you'll probably start even to question your own value. And worse, you may attract people that will work with you, but you'll attract clients that don't value your time, your expertise, or even your boundaries. And so it'll make you just want to discount your prices more and more and more. And it's just a negative feedback loop. So the truth of why this is happening to you, if we want to talk about this mistake that you're making, is that you're questioning really your own value outside of your degree and your title. A lot of people, a lot of doctors more specifically, undercharge not because our offers are not valuable, it's because we don't fully believe that it is. We think that we should just price it based on what other people would should pay for it, what's affordable, what's reasonably priced, and we figured that our expertise outside of our degree is really not as valuable as anything else, or this is not as valuable as your medical expertise. I also find that people undercharge mainly because they have their own negative deep-seated beliefs about money, about selling, about um, what the value of things should be in their opinion. And if you are not clear about understanding your own beliefs about money, own beliefs about selling, what it's like to be sold to, how you like to sell, things like that, then that's what will have you to undercharge for what you're doing. And so the fix for that really is to raise your prices to match the value of your transformation. And what do I mean by that more specifically? What you do as an expert, whether you're educating, whether you're a coach, whether you're a consultant, you are helping people to move from point X to point Y, from one point to another. You're helping them to get a transformation. And sometimes that transformation would be for them to make more money, to feel better, to lead a better life, to live differently in some way. That's really, really, really valuable. Sometimes the offers that you're presenting them can save people from getting a divorce, which is thousands of dollars, can help them to parent their child better, which may be years of therapy that they're saving money on, all different kinds of things. But we have to see our offers and ourselves as valuable in order for us to see the value in our offers and raise our prices to match the value of the transformation as well. We can't practice out of guilt or price ourselves out of guilt or discomfort. We have to set, to price our offers from the deep belief and the deep knowing of what we're doing is absolutely life changing to people. So, another question on a scale of 1 to 10, how well have you mastered pricing your offers based on the value of the transformation, not your comfort level or what you see other people charging? And if you don't have a business, that's okay. Just say, I don't have a business. Not well. Zakia, Dr. Zakia says out of 10, not well. I don't have a business. Okay. I hope that you're taking this information and saying, okay, now when I'm ready to start, when I'm actually putting my business out there, then I'm going to actually look very closely at my pricing and make sure that I'm basing it my pricing on the transformation, not by other people's wallets or my perception of what's in their wallets. If you price your offers based on the outcomes that you help your clients achieve, what would change for you? Dr. Zakia, I am so curious to know now that you are pricing your offers based on the outcomes that you achieve, what has changed in your business since you've been a new entrepreneur and you've been working with clients as well and doing your messaging? But for everybody else in the room, what would change for you if you made the price of your offer really match the value that you delivered? What would it look like for you to stop undercutting and shortchanging yourself? I see an increase in revenue. I love that. Dr. Zakia says, I've been able to stand on my offer with full confidence and knowing what I have, what I'm offering has transformative value. I love that. Being solid and being sold on yourself first and being sold on what your offer is first is really, really what's important. I love that, Dr. Zakia. And so the question to the rest of the room right now is, can you commit to improving your pricing right now? If so, drop the dollar sign in the chat. And if you, like I said, if you don't have a business just yet, know that you should pay close attention to how much you're pricing your offers for when you get started. If you could commit to improving your pricing, drop a dollar sign in the chat. There's a little bit of a delay here. Okay. I'm going to keep going. Let's do the last mistake. The last mistake and the biggest mistake that I think that everyone that I've come across, including myself, I've done this as well too, is not following a proven formula when it comes to business. This is where the vast majority of us go wrong. We as physicians feel as though we are smart, we are, and we feel like we can pretty much figure things out on our own. And so a lot of times we resist following a proven process because we feel like we can just piece it together. So we'll buy the $97 template here, we'll download a freebie here, we'll watch a bunch of webinars, we'll maybe even hire a coach that's maybe never worked with even clinicians before, or is not the type of entrepreneur that we're trying to be ourselves, and we wonder why things are not working. That's exactly what happened to me when I was kind of like side hustling and kind of going without a plan, um, until I actually got some help, and then things started to take off. And we're doing this not because we're not capable of running our own businesses, but it's just because we're just trying to freestyle our way, and it doesn't really work like that. So, how do you know that you're doing this? You already have tried a lot of things, but nothing feels like it's working. You've got files and files of PDFs, templates, and notes, but no real plan, and more specifically, no income. You're constantly switching strategies and second guessing yourself and starting over and over and over again. And you've been building your business for months or maybe even years, and you still don't feel like a CEO, and you darn sure don't have the clients or the results to align with a CEO level of identity. So let me say this, the truth. Following a proven process is about speed and about sustainability. You don't need to reinvent the wheel in business at all. All you need is a strategy that has been already pressure tested by somebody that's walked down the same road that you've done before. When you're trying to figure out things on your own, you spend a lot of time wasting time on busy work that does not move the needle. You get stuck in the loop that involves you consuming content instead of creating things. And then you lose confidence because there's no real clear path to a result. And that's not really innovation as we think that it is. That's a fast path to burnout. But when you use a proven process, you get clear next steps, you have focused priorities, you get feedback that accelerates your growth, and you actually have a roadmap that frees up your mental space so that you can do the work that you need to do in order for you to move forward. A right process and the right process is not rigid. It's really flexible and it's repeatable. It doesn't box you in, and it helps you to create something that will really work for you. So, again, let me take this a little bit clinically, and I'll talk about why a proven formula works. As you guys know, myself and Dr. Yvette as well too are emergency physicians, and we use proven formulas and risk stratifiers and formulas all the time in the emergency department. So, if we use that in our clinical work, why wouldn't we apply the same logic to building your business? So, let's use this for an example. Let's just say a 52-year-old patient comes into the emergency department complaining of chest pain that started 2 hours ago. Let's say he has a history of hypertension and high cholesterol, but no other heart issues. Appears anxious with a little bit of diaphoresis, but his vitals are pretty good. Blood pressure is okay, heart rate's normal, saturating 98%. Everything is good. He's afebrile as well too. Let's just say for our initial assessment, we get a pretty much normal EKG, except for some mild ST segment changes. We get some blood work, and we get a very mildly elevated troponin back. And of course, we know he has the risk factors of being a little bit over 50 years old, hypertensive, and he's got hyperlipidemia. In the emergency department, we use this beautiful tool called the heart score to help us to risk stratify this patient that's coming in with chest pain to see what we need to do for this patient. Is this someone that is safe enough to go home and maybe follow up with their primary doctor for an outpatient stress test, or is this someone that we need to admit to the hospital, call cardiology, put them on heparin drip, and this person needs to go to cath at some point? So this heart score will help us to decide what we need to do, and what are the risk factors for this patient with this proven formula. And so this person gets a heart score of a 5, which, if you're not familiar with it, for all of you non-internal medicine or non-adult medicine doctors on the line, then you would probably need to admit this patient for observation. And so what do? We admit to medicine for a cardiac workup. Let's just say that he had an abnormality on echo. He ended up getting a cath and got a stent and went home in a couple of days. But if I had not used a proven formula like the heart score, I potentially could have maybe spent a lot of time keeping him in the emergency department, trying to figure out, trying to trend his troponins, getting second, third, fourth set of labs. Um, I could have unfortunately maybe sent him home, and he could have had an adverse event and gone home, and that would have been time lost, life lost, potentially, et cetera, so forth. This score, this proven formula, this proven process has helped me to streamline this man's care and get him to the result that he needs to get through. The same thing happens in business as well too. When we use a proven formula, we get to the result faster and easier with a lot less chatter. Me as the ER doctor, once I see a heart score of 5, boom, he's in. I've already made the decision in my head. It makes the cognitive load so much easier, and it's the same thing in business. So the fix for the mistake that you're making is to go ahead and follow a process that's been tested, refined, and gets results. Again, a proven process will give you a clear next step, focused priorities, feedback that accelerates your growth, and it frees up the mental space so that you can do the work. It's a way to be flexible and repeatable, and it does not box you in. It helps you to build something that works and lasts. This reminds me of one of my favorite clients to work with, Dr. Biasha Jones. She's an emergency physician as well, and she's the creator and founder of Be Out Loud. She recently finished residency and outlined a book about her struggles as being a Black woman and an emergency medicine resident, and how she was able to find her voice and her confidence as a physician. She wanted to help other minoritized people be confident and authentic to themselves through her outlined book, but she really wanted to help people now. She wanted to help other minoritized people to live out loud and be out loud like she felt like she was able to do through her journey of her residency. So she had a couple of challenges, though, is that she wanted to be a life coach and impact people that way, but she had never been a coach before. She had no business experience and no sales experience. I remember talking to her on the phone, and I said, "Hey, have you ever even sold anything before?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Not even Girl Scout cookies?" She's like, "No, I've never sold a thing in my life." It's like, "Okay, we're going to do this. It doesn't matter anyways." So she joined us inside of Ignite, where she followed the 5-step process. And so far, she has made over $12,000 as a brand new life coach and brand new entrepreneur. And now she's working with her dream clients. And so she learned by following a proven process, a sales process, proven process in order for her to create an offer, to launch that offer, and to sell it to people and be able to sign clients, that she's able to transform other people's lives today without waiting for a book, and to be a successful entrepreneur. So all of my clients that I've talked to you guys about have joined me inside of Ignite, which is my 5-step process for making money non-clinically in 90 days or less. And this framework is designed to help doctor experts, whether you are selling your expertise as a coach, a consultant, some sort of an educator, go from idea to income in 90 days or less without wasting your time or your energy that does not move the needle. And more specifically, it includes 2 different tools, that one of which we've talked about today, which is the Fire Offer Combustion Kit, which is how I help other doctor entrepreneurs to create their signature high ticket courses. And I also teach them or use sales call alchemy as my proven process in order for you to have real sales conversations with people without feeling like slimy or weird or gross or awkward or anything like that. And so Biasha, again, did not spend months creating content or building a website or trying to get a book deal. in order for her to change lives. She was able to use this formula, use this process, help people right away, and she made $12,000 along the way. So this process works because it is designed for busy doctors by a busy doctor, i.e., me. So, who here wants a simple, proven formula to create and sell their offer? Let me know. Drop the fire emoji in the chat if you do. Awesome. See, Terry is dropping fire emojis. Awesome. Okay, so let's stop here and we've got some more questions. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of your business strategy so far has been figuring it out as I go versus following a clear roadmap? 10 is I'm following a clear roadmap, and 1 is I'm definitely figuring it out as I go. I see a 1. Okay. If I handed you a proven step-by-step formula today, the one that eliminated all the guesswork and fast-tracked your results, what would be the first thing that would change? Less time wasted. I know that's right. Exactly, Dr. Yvette. Definitely wasting a lot less time and getting to the bag a lot quicker. All right. Can you commit to following a proven process to get you to the goal? Drop the word yes in the chat if you can. Awesome. I see a yes, Dr. Yvette. Awesome. Okay, so those were the 5 mistakes. Let's review really, really quickly what we've covered today. So the first mistake is we're focusing on busy work and perfectionism. We want to take messy and perfect action. We're also choosing the wrong business model. We're trying to make passive income before we've even proven anything has worked before. So we want to change that by focusing on high touch, high impact offers like working with people one on one before we consider scaling. We're not making clear calls to action. We're probably not making any calls to action in our content. So we fix that by making calls to action. We're undercharging instead of pricing for the transformation that we provide, and we are not following a proven process instead of following a proven formula. So, just want to check in with you again. We've shared all of the mistakes that I'm noticing that my clients have been making, I've been making. What's been the most valuable for you tonight as you've been in class? What have you learned that has been most valuable? Position yourself as a solution. Absolutely. We are taught to talk about the problems that people are having, but we don't put ourselves as the solution to their problems. We don't make ourselves the next logical step. Taking imperfect action. I love that. Yes, taking messy action still gets results. Just because it's not all glitterized and branded and perfect lighting and all of those other things, you can still make money by taking messy, imperfect action. Awesome. All right. So I want to just pause here really quick before we wrap up for tonight. What questions do you guys have for me today? I have asked you guys a ton of questions. We've stopped and made questions. What questions do you have for me today? Thank you, Dr. Yvette. Dr. Yvette, this picture was from when we were in Santorini together. So Dr. Yvette is also a travel physician. She has a business where she takes groups of physicians all across the world. And I actually took this picture when I went on one of our cruises with her. I did a retreat. I needed a wellness retreat, and so what better way to be well other than in Santorini in a beautiful flying dress taking a picture? Like I said, today we set out to learn the 5 simple mistakes that are stopping you from making consistent money in your business. These are some of the most common mistakes that I have been seeing other doctor entrepreneurs make. And like I said, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I was making some of these same mistakes as well too. So I want you to think about moving forward in your future. So if you're serious about implementing some of the fixes to these mistakes that you are seeing in this masterclass today, I really want to invite you to join me by having an action plan call. And let me explain to you what an action plan call is. It is about an hour of time where you and I will get together and we will go deep and we'll find the one thing that's blocking you on your path to making money without seeing patients. So you are likely making one or more of these mistakes, and maybe you're making some other mistakes in your business right now. If you are wanting to make consistent 4 and 5 figures a month and you're not doing that, then let's get on the action plan call and we will find the number one thing that is blocking you from doing that. As well, you will leave the call with a customized 90-day plan about what you should be doing to move forward in your business so that you can hit those revenue goals. And if it's a good fit, we can talk about what it's like for us to work together in order for us to move your business forward. But I strongly suggest that you get your own personalized action plan and move forward with that so that your business can sail for 2025. We're in Q3. We're towards the end of July, so we're right in the middle of the year. And so if you're not making the money that you set out for, the goals that you set for yourself in your business, like I said, I strongly suggest that you book an action plan call and let's take a look and see what's actually happening in your business so you can move forward and make the revenue that you want so you can buy down your clinical time. Okay, so you can go to Dr. Kimberly Brown, no, not doctor, sorry, KimberlyBrownMD.com/call in order to schedule that. I do suggest that you book those now. There are some limited spots available. So if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts about, well, I think I'm making this mistake, Kim, I don't know, I just kind of want to get your eyes on this or kind of figure out where I'm going wrong with this, book an action plan call. I think this will be the most valuable hour that you will spend of your week when you do book a call because you're going to get information about how you can move forward in an impactful way. So, like I said, go to KimberlyBrownMD.com/call. Cynthia, thank you for dropping that in the chat. You can click your link. There's a few questions that I will ask you first, and then it will take you right to the calendar, and then you can schedule your call. But it is going to be the most valuable hour that you'll get to spend all week long. All right. So, as we're wrapping up tonight, I really want to do a powerful exercise with you right now. So, if you're not driving, if you are somewhere that is safe, I want you to take a moment to imagine your future with me. So, if you can, please close your eyes. And I know it feels strange, and I want you to trust me. I don't have anyone that's going to pop out of anywhere and surprise you. But just close your eyes. And like I said, we're going to imagine our future together. So first, let's imagine it's 3 days from now. You've left this masterclass and you immediately started putting things into action. You started making calls to action. You raised your prices. You started following a proven process and a proven formula to growing your business, and you're feeling excited, even energized, because you finally feel like you have a plan that's going to work and you're not just stuck in survival mode or just figuring it out on your own. You have a path forward. Now, still with your eyes closed, I want you to put yourself about 3 months from now. Your expert business is booming. You are working with multiple high paying clients, high ticket clients, and you're making at least $5,000 every month working with the best, most aligned people that you've always wanted to work with. You're no longer wondering whether or not you can escape your clinical job. You can see that you can. You're already starting to cut back on your clinical hours. Maybe you say no to an extra shift here and there. And you're starting to actually feel the freedom that you've been craving, and you're getting more confident in your ability to sell, and you know exactly how to grow your business to 6 figures and beyond. And now, still with your eyes closed, imagine a year from now. You're making serious money. You're making maybe 10, even 12K per month without having to go into work. You've stepped away from the things that have been burning you out, and you wake up every single day with a sense of freedom and excitement about what's happening next. You don't feel like you're just surviving anymore. You truly feel like you are living your life's true and deep purpose, and you're getting paid for it. You become the person that calls the shots in your life, and you're living your life that's truly lighting you up. You feel balanced and secure. Now, take a second to ask yourself, what type of person are you actually seeing in your future? How are they showing up every day? How are they making decisions for themselves? As you open your eyes, this version of you, the one that you just imagined with me, they don't wait around for permission. They take action. So my question is, are you committed to being and acting as this person from this point forward? If so, then book an action plan call. Like I said, this is going to be the most valuable hour that you'll spend with me this week, understanding deeply what you need to do to move your business forward and what you should be focusing on in the next 90 days in order for you to make that money to get to that freedom. You can go to KimberlyBrownMD.com/call and book that call. But I strongly suggest you book it right now because limited spots are available. And it's good to see you guys again. Awesome. I'm so excited and so grateful that you guys were able to join me tonight for the 5 mistakes Dr. Entrepreneurs make when selling their expertise online. I appreciate you guys' time tonight. If you have any questions about your specific business, if you're curious about how you could potentially work with us inside of Ignite and get some of the results that some of the other entrepreneurs are getting inside of Ignite, then I would strongly suggest that you go ahead and book your action plan call. Again, the link is right there in the chat. It's KimberlyBrownMD.com/call. I would absolutely love to talk to you and talk with you about your business. If not anything else, if there's no further ado, then I will let you guys have the remainder of your evening tonight. I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. All right, y'all. Y'all have an amazing evening. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Docs Get Money podcast. New episodes drop every Thursday wherever you find your favorite podcast. Share, comment, follow, and subscribe to the Docs Get Money podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to know more, visit me, Dr. Kimberly Brown, at KimberlyBrownMD.com, and be sure to follow me at Dr. Kimberly B on Instagram. And until next time, let's go get this money, honey.